Chelsea fans, Joao Pedro gives Chelsea a scare as he comes off early from Brazil by throwing up on the pitch. Yes, it was graphic, it was disgusting, but Joao Pedro, I hope, is okay. Furthermore, Caicedo doesn't play for Ecuador because he's still injured. He played injured against Fulham, he went on international duty, they didn't play him as a precaution. The big news is Estevao Willian gets his first goal for Brazil. He breaks a record of being the youngest ever Brazil goal scorer in a South American qualifier. Kendry Paez comes under a huge amount of criticism for his performance for Ecuador, and we need to talk about it. Marco Correa, I think we need to have a conversation about his consistency. The man has another outstanding performance for Spain, gets a goal, and I made a claim yesterday that bombarded me with a lot of negativity. Apparently, it is not fair to say he's the second best left back we've had since Ashley Cole. Alonso's getting mentioned. We're going to have that discussion. And finally, we need to talk about what's going on with Raheem Sterling and Chelsea, because now Sammy Mockbell, Nazir Kinsella, a reputable journalist when it comes to English players, are coming out with very interesting information that there's a huge dispute and Raheem Sterling's contract is not getting ripped up out of principle. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down, get into the little details, but what I need from all of you is, number one, hit that like button. 1,000 likes goes a long way. Do it now, you will forget. Secondly, if you made it this far, clearly you're enjoying the content. Subscribe. I do this almost on a daily basis, 24 videos a month. You will be satiated properly with Chelsea related content. And finally, if you can, hit that hype button. It teaches YouTube that this is a good video. Promote it. I want to start with the injuries quickly and then go into the Estevao and Kendry Paez because those two stories entwine, Cucurella, and then talk about Raheem Sterling. First of all, the injuries. Moises Caicedo missed this Ecuador qualifier and wasn't even on the squad, wasn't available to be on the bench. Ecuador are qualified already. I don't understand why he's even traveled. He was injured, didn't train all week, trained on the Friday, played on Saturday, early kickoff, since then hasn't trained since. Went on international duty, they didn't utilize him in their game, and what ended up happening is apparently he's going to play against Argentina in a dead rubber game. Ecuador are qualified. I don't understand it. What I'm praying and I'm hoping is he gets a limited amount of minutes, he does not overexert himself. Moises Caicedo is pivotal to anything we do this year. Anything happens to him, we are all of a sudden dependent on Andres Santos, Esugo, and Enzo Fernandez. I love all of them, but neither one of them or any one of them is Moises Caicedo. I'm sorry. Secondly, Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro started for Brazil as number 9, played, and I think it was around about 60 minutes. He got, I think, elbowed in the stomach, which caused him to puke on the pitch. He was on the floor, puking on the pitch. I don't know whether that's the dehydration, whether that's humidity, playing in those conditions. However, what I do know is we need to pray that he's okay. Because if anything happens to him and there's no Delap and no Joao Pedro, we are in serious trouble. And people are going to say, Alex, you're being too dramatic. I am not being dramatic. Joao Pedro, Cole Palmer out, at the same time, no Delap. All of a sudden, the burden on Estevao is going to become crazy. And we can't allow that. Personally, I am praying this is just one of those things where the conditions, the high altitude, all of a sudden is just one of those things where he just didn't feel well and he'll get over it and play in the next game. I'm actually begging him to play in the next game. Normally, I'm like, don't play our players. In this case, I want him to play just to prove to myself he's fine. When it comes to Estevao Willian, I think we've got a special player. Certain men call him Steve, I call him Estevao. I watched the video, he taught me how to say it, I know how to say it, Estevao. What has happened? The kid's gone away. I think it's his fourth or fifth cap for Brazil. And not only has he absolutely been shining for Chelsea, now he's doing the samba and enjoying himself in a Brazilian kit. This kid is special. And now he's got his first goal, making himself the youngest ever Brazilian kid to score in a CONMEBOL game, meaning he's the youngest ever Brazilian to score in a competitive game, and the key is the seventh youngest ever Brazilian to score for Brazil. Absolutely wonderful stat, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the nature of his performance. I watched the compilation, I watched a bit of the extended highlights, and I just looked at it and I'm like, I can't believe he's 18 years old. The weight of Brazil and that nation's shirt weighs more than any nation's. Listen, I live in England, right? And I would say the way English fans are about their players, it's mad. There's an expectation that England need to win every game no matter what. They get to the semis, they go out, country's unhappy. Get to the final, country's unhappy. Why? Because the expectation is you win. Brazil's exactly the same, I think if not worse and on steroids. Neymar is religiously berated and said he wasn't good enough for their nation, when this is one of the greatest players I've ever seen in my lifetime. And with Estevao popping onto the scene, there are other players that are older than him and they're deferring to him, and he's carrying the ball, he's demanding the ball. What he does in a Chelsea kit, he replicated it in the Brazil kit. We have got a special talent. And what I want to talk about is, it's the mirror of different tales. Because Kendry Paez was somebody that at the age of 16 was just as hyped. And in Ecuador, he was putting up stupid numbers. He started playing at international level. And what happened was, he was fast-tracked. Ecuador put him into the first team. And yesterday, he played for Ecuador. He started in the twin 10 positions. Apparently, he didn't have a great game. I didn't watch. I watched a few of the compilations. His touches were minimal. He was hardly involved. It was a very small game. And what I love to do when international games are on is literally type in the player's name and go and see the fan reactions under the tweets. And the reason why I want to do that is because you can gauge a lot of how the masses feel about someone based off going into a comment section, right? And my perception would have been like, whenever I go and look at Joshua Chempong, all of a sudden, it's all positive. Tyreek George, it's all positive. Estevao, it's all positive. With Kendry Paez, it was all pure negative. And there were clips going on of a chance that he basically created for himself and skied it over the bar. And genuinely, there's almost a resentment towards him that I don't understand. There's an expectation that he's going to be their Messi. And there were multiple comments that stipulated he's overrated, he's nowhere near the finished product, he's not good enough for Ecuador. And for me, I was looking at it and I was thinking, this is ridiculous. This kid's 18 years old. He's played 3 games in France. He is nowhere near of the level to be carrying a nation in CONMEBOL. He is playing for a country that has got expectations. Like it or not, Ecuador now is a powerhouse in South America. It's the top 4, top 5 countries. And the reality is, there's a lot of pressure on this team because they've got a lot of good talent in Pacho, Caicedo. Valencia is still up top. There are a few, Estepinian. There are a few players still that play at Premier League, Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga level. And the expectation is they're going to get to the group stage and they're going to get out the group. And this pressure now is being caved onto this kid to be the supplier. They are defensively good. Going forward, they're not as special. And the pressure's going on the 18-year-old kid. And I just don't understand it. Because what I can see is Estevao's handling the pressure. This kid is struggling with it. He's drowning. We as Chelsea fans need to protect him. Genuinely, we need to put a force field around him. Do not allow people to get at him because he needs support right now. And honestly, I am so happy he's not at Chelsea and he's at Strasbourg. Out of mind, out of sight. Gets to play, gets to develop under Liam Rosinha, and gets to be a player that, when he comes back to Chelsea in a year's time, maybe goes out on another loan and goes to the World Cup and expresses himself and hopefully shows the world how talented he is. But the comments and the reactions to a missed chance, it reminds me of the way we used to react as a fan base to when Jackson kept on missing like simple chances. But in this case, this wasn't a simple chance. Marco Correa plays for Spain, and the Chelsea left back is now getting to the realm of he's no longer underrated, he's fully rated. And the goal that he scored was beautiful. On the edge of the left-hand side of the area, touch into the box, absolutely laced it, top bins, beautiful, right? He doesn't even celebrate. He's become immune to scoring goals. The penguin dance left, right, and center. But what I wanted to talk about was, I made a tweet. And my tweet essentially was, Marco Correa is the best left back Chelsea have had since Ashley Cole. And it's not even close. Defensively, he's very good one-on-one. His ability to be a nuisance, his ability to put players off. And going forward, he's become amazing. And what I got was, you're a plastic fan, you're reactionary, Marcos Alonso. And what I don't understand is my memory of Marcos Alonso different to everyone else's, or is everyone's reality obscured? Because what I remember of Alonso was a player that needed to touch the ball once. If he touches it twice, 3 times, you're in problems. Everything's slow, he gets closed down, he will lose possession. Alonso is a player that is a wing back. Cannot play left back to save his life. We couldn't play with a back 4 with Alonso. He was getting targeted religiously. I would even argue Alonso was not better than Aspi at left back. Aspi at left back was considerably better. Yes, he gave us imbalance, but he could defend. Alonso's history as a Chelsea player has heavily been skewed, right, by the argument of look how many goals he scored and how many moments he's a part of. The problem is, I don't judge footballers like that. I actually judge them on what they gave me week in, week out. You all know I call Ben Chilwell basic Ben. That's not like a disservice to him. People always say, oh, that's disrespectful. It's not disrespectful. He does the basics very well. He gets up and down the pitch. He does everything to a basic level. No weaknesses. The problem is, he's nothing special. There is nothing wrong with that. He's a Premier League footballer. And for me, Ben Chilwell was miles ahead of Marcus Alonso. I don't know whether that's controversial, but what I wanted to say was, we have got a brilliant defender in Cucurella, and everyone turned it into a negative. I actually think we are so secure at that left back position. Gerald Hato is going to struggle to get minutes, but that's a good thing. He's only going to become better and develop under that kind of pressure. Both Sami Mokbel and Nazir Kinsella have both come out and spoken about in an article about Raheem Sterling, how there's disputes going on. Chelsea want to pay him out. However, Chelsea owe him close to £13 million, right? 30.8 if I'm not mistaken, for 2 years left on his deal. Raheem's not taking a penny less, and Chelsea are not willing to pay him out. And now they're stuck in a limbo. And for me, this is very confusing because Raheem's 30 years old. I would assume he wants to go play, right? I would assume he doesn't want to retire. Yes, he's getting paid handsomely and he wants his money, but there must be some juices flowing in him that say, look, I want to play football. I want to kick ball. I am still more than capable, if I want to play for another 5 years. I also believe I'm not in the business of leaving money on the table, so I do not recommend he leaves any money on the table. This is so controversial and very weird, and I don't understand how this gets resolved, because I feel like if Chelsea don't want to pay him because they don't want to set a precedent that we're just going to pay players off. Furthermore, I don't think he wants to just leave money on the table. What's going to happen, I don't know, but what I'm also interested in is he's going to sit out another 4 months, and it's going to be only harder to loan him in January because there aren't going to be clubs that are going to want a player that hasn't kicked the ball since June or even May. He literally would be in one of those zones where he hasn't kicked the football for 7 months, and it'll get to the point where it'll take at least a month to get him up to scratch. He's only coming back in mid-February. He's there with you for 3 months, and is he even going to be the same player that he was at Chelsea? Because the player he was at Arsenal was finished. So it is what it is. I hope you guys liked it and you enjoyed this video. Peace out, I'm out, bye.